Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from Section X Studios at the center of the Earth. And this is the Pop Culture Breakdown, a rundown of the top pop culture stories and rumors of the day. Our lead story today, rumors regarding just how bad things are about to get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Kevin Feige casts men aside and brings about the first all-female Avengers and turns the MCU into the MCU. I have been sitting on this story since January 2nd of this year, when rumors started coming in regarding the course change Feige is imposing on the MCU, turning it into a female-centric parody of the original Stan Lee Marvel universe. Since these rumors have grown more persistent and detailed, I have decided to present these rumors to you now, albeit with the following disclaimer. What I'm about to tell you is information I have been provided by sources purporting to be inside Disney or Marvel, information that I have no way of personally verifying, so I must ask you to please consider the following to be unverified rumor and to take it with a grain of salt. So the initial rumor I received on January 2nd stated that Marvel is planning on gender swapping the majority of its characters in Phase 4. Subsequent reports have detailed more of this plan, and this is what we of Section X have been told. Apparently, the main bad guy of Phase 4 is going to introduce a virus to eliminate most of the superheroes on Earth. It is a virus that only impacts men, mainly because the main bad guy is a misogynist who dismisses women as insignificant and weak. Which, given the current political situation, means that the main bad guy will be a whiter-than-white guy, possibly an albino, maybe Lawrence Welk, brought back from the grave wearing a Galactus suit. I can certainly believe this rumor, given how hell-bent Hollywood is these days on knocking down the patriarchy and belittling men, and what better way to do that than to infect all the men with a virus, arranging things so that only the women can save them. To that end, my Hollywood spies and multiple Section X confidential sources claim the following. In Phase 4 of the MCU, all we are going to get is a retread of everything that has come before, only with all female heroes. Pepper Potts will be Iron Woman for about 2 or 3 movies, then surprise, surprise, her daughter will become Iron Woman. There will of course be She-Hulk in for the Hulk, there will be a Spider-Girl replacing Peter Parker as Spider-Man, Black Widow will return, and the method of her return is in and of itself an interesting rumor from a persistent source who swears what I'm about to tell you is true. At the end of Black Widow, in the post-credits scene of her upcoming movie, there is rumored to be a scene where you will see Black Widow look up at someone standing over her. She will ask, "Who are you?" But all you will see is the back of a guy who will be wearing the same time travel suit you see in Endgame. So it's looking like Feige may be bringing Black Widow back into Phase 4 to help save all the men struck down by the male-centric virus that either weakens or kills the whole male population of Earth in the MCU. In addition, Black Panther will now be a female, Hawkeye will be replaced by his daughter, since archery skill is obviously genetic, Valkyrie will replace Thor as the leader of Asgard, and while Captain Marvel will be ruining everything she touches as usual, she and Monica Rambeau will be at odds as foreshadowed in WandaVision, and this, perhaps the unkindest cut of all, the Vision will be back as Ultron 2.0, this time as a transgendered android. Oh, how very, very stunning and brave of Marvel. Aren't you feeling more excited by the minute? A transgendered android, with the Vision now rewritten to have the female voice that replaced Jarvis. Vision will be immune to the virus, being artificial in nature, but that doesn't matter since he will now be transsexual. Such is the upcoming MCU's hostility towards males that not even a male android will survive this ridiculous bullshit unscathed. All this is rumored to lead into a new Secret Wars scenario, setting up Galactus as the next end boss. Chances are, since Galactus is the bad guy and will be defeated in the end, They'll leave him as a white male, which is barely a step above a noxious cloud by Hollywood standards, but at least the fans will enjoy this small crumb of mercy from the table of Feige, if these rumors are to be believed. And now, here's a little good news for a change. This just in, CNBC is reporting that having been acquired by new management, geek favorite Toys R Us is about to make a comeback in the US with stores set to reopen across the country. According to CNBC, quote, the brand management company WHP Global announced Monday it has acquired a controlling interest in True Kids, the parent company of the Toys R Us, Babies R Us, and Joffrey the Giraffe brands. Quote, we're in the brand business, and Toys R Us is the single most credible, trusted, and beloved toy brand in the world, unquote. Yehuda Schmidman, chairman and chief executive officer of WHP, said in an interview, quote, we're coming off a year where toys were just on fire. And for Toys R Us, the US is really a blank canvas, unquote. Schmidman has been serving as vice chair of True Kids since 2019. True Kids, which is backed by Solus Alternative Asset Management and funds managed by private equity group Aris Management, bought the brands and intellectual property from Toys R Us after it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in September 2017. Toys R Us was ultimately unable to emerge from bankruptcy on its own, following a crippling 2017 holiday season, pushing it into liquidation, unquote. For comments on this, let's go to our senior corporate branding correspondent, the Eldritch God himself, my best friend and arch nemesis, Harvey Cthulhu. Harvey, what do you make of this story?
I think it's great that Toys R Us is making a comeback in the US. The day they left, I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of geeks suddenly cried out in horror and were suddenly silenced. Toys R Us was a staple for many a kid growing up, so its bankruptcy and subsequent closing was traumatic for a lot of geeks and dorks around the US.
Notice, though, this quote from the article, quote, Toys R Us was ultimately unable to emerge from bankruptcy on its own following a crippling 2017 holiday season, unquote. Ha! Now what do you make of that, Harvey?
Doomcock, that was very interesting, because what else happened in 2017 that would have crippled toy sales? What could it be, I wonder?
Why, that would have been the year that Star Trek Discovery came out, Harvey.
Star Trek Discovery and The Last Jedi.
Holy crap, Harvey, you're right. Star Trek Discovery is the worst thing humanity has created in pop culture, worse than the Geico cavemen, worse than robocalls, worse than rap itself. Not only did no one want Star Trek Discovery toys, they also stopped buying Star Trek toys altogether, with awesome McFarlane, Kirk, and Picard toys getting bargain binned at Walgreens. But, as if that wasn't bad enough, unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster poor Toys R Us, when The Last Jedi bombed so spectacularly it fractured the Star Wars fan base forever.
Sadly for Toys R Us and Disney as a whole, turns out kids didn't want to buy purple-haired toys of Admiral Gender Studies lecturing boys about the patriarchy, or Rose Tico freeing the animals and leaving the little kid slaves behind, or little planks of wood sold as Mikey Spock action figures.
And it turns out most kids aren't dumb enough to buy a beach ball with a droid head stuck on it, Harvey.
I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. In 2020, that was an oldies song, but come 2021, the Toys R Us jingle may be back on the charts and playing on car radios again around the country. Back to you, Chet.
Thank you, Garvey.
My name's not Garvey.
My name's not Chet either, asshole.
Touche, Doomcock. Touche. This is really good news, not just for toy-loving geeks, but also for Jeffrey Giraffe, who found himself on the skids after the bankruptcy, appearing briefly as an extra in commercials before moving to Mexico and finding work as a fluffer in Tijuana donkey shows. Toys R Us kids may not want to grow up, but for donkey performers in Tijuana, not growing up on cue is not an option, and at least Jeffrey won't have to be assisting donkeys in that regard anymore.
Yeah, you just made that up, Harvey.
I did. Back to you, Chet.
Harvey Cthulhu, ladies and gentlemen. And now, this. Actor Javik Koto, who appeared in such classic movies as Alien, Midnight Run, Live and Let Die, and The Running Man, has passed away at the age of 81. According to the New York Times, quote, his death was confirmed on Tuesday by his agent, Ryan Goldhar. His wife, Thessa Sinahan, announced it in a Facebook post. No other details were immediately available. Mr. Koto began studying acting at 16 at the Actors Mobile Theater Studio, according to Variety, and by 19 he had made his professional theater debut in Othello. He often played police officers, criminals, and other hardened personalities on screen. He received a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for his portrayal of President Idi Amin, the murderous Ugandan strongman in the 1976 television movie Raid on Entebbe. One of Mr. Koto's first parts was a supporting role in the 1964 film Nothing But a Man, about a black couple who faced discrimination in the Deep South. He would go on to have more than 90 other acting credits in film, in television, and on Broadway. Notably, he played Parker, an engineer tasked with repairing a spaceship in Alien, the 1979 blockbuster from Ridley Scott. Unquote. An excellent recitation of the facts of Javik Koto's life, perhaps, but what media outlets like the New York Times don't get when geek actors like Javik Koto die is the impact folks like Javik Koto have had on pop culture and on the lives of geeks everywhere. Many of us grew up on these iconic movies. They were part of our childhoods, and when we hear of the passing of key people from these cinematic waypoints in our lives, most of us can't help but feel that we are losing our way in the world a little bit at a time, that these projected guideposts are being extinguished one by one, leaving many of us feeling increasingly unmoored and adrift. It's a sobering thing to see the world you knew disintegrating around you, but this increasingly is the experience we've been faced with in 2020, and 2021 seems no better. Javik Koto was a brilliant actor, the son of Cameroonian royalty, married 3 times with 6 children. Although we grieve his death, with over 90 acting credits including Broadway, Javik Koto lived one hell of a life. Reportedly, 2 of his great regrets in life were being offered the roles of Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek The Next Generation and Lando Calrissian in Empire Strikes Back, turning both down because after Alien, he didn't want to get typecast as a science fiction actor. Huge mistakes in an otherwise stellar career, and especially disappointing to geeks, as it's hard to imagine Javik Koto sniveling and groveling like Patrick Stewart did, giving his impression of a whipped cur in Star Trek Picard, but that's water under the bridge. Koto was a talented man who shored up some of our favorite films, and he will be missed. Rest in peace, Javik Koto, 1939 to 2021. And that wraps up the pop culture breakdown for today. Tune in next time for a rundown of the day's pop culture stories from our crack team here at Section X Studios. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.